We are starting now, Laszlo.
So our next speaker for today is Professor Dr.
Yeah. Yeah, we are here, Laszlo. Back. Hello, Laszlo.
Laszlo, sir, can you hear us?
We are here for you, Laszlo. Yeah, he's here. Yeah.
Hello, I am here.
Oh, thank you so much. Sorry for the little delay to get every people here, all of us here. Yeah, we start now, please.
So our next speaker would be Professor Dr. Laszlo Zsolnai. He is the president of the European SPES Institute. He is a professor and the director of the Business Ethics Center at the Corvinus University of Budapest. He is the associate member of the Laszlo Institute for Social Justice, Blackfriars Hall, University of Oxford. He serves as the editor of the Frontier of the Business Ethics book Ethics series at the Peter Lang Publishers in the Oxford. He is the co-editor of the studies in the Transatlantic Business Ethics book series at the Edward Elgar, the Palgrave Studies in the Sustainable Business book series at the Palgrave Macmillan Virtues and the Economics book series at the Springer, and the studies in Buddhist Economics, Management and the Policy book series at Palgrave Macmillan. With Lou Bockert, he founded the European SPES Forum in Leuven, Belgium. We are highly honored with your graceful presence, sir. Today, sir will be addressing us on the ethos of sustainable value creation. Heartiest welcome to you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, and good afternoon in Shillong. I am happy to contribute to this conference, and I am collaborating with. I never been in Shillong. I am collaborating with Professor Sanjay Mukherjee for almost 20 years, and in addition to that, as you will see, I am active in other parts of India. I was active, still active, other parts of India, including Ladakh and Mumbai and Bangalore. So I have some experience with India in ethics-related projects, sustainability-related projects, and cultural projects. So I will show you some pictures and some ideas about this, not just about India, but also I will recall other innovative working models of sustainable value creation from other parts of the world, including Europe. So I try to share some slides and pictures. Hope it works. We'll try that. So I hope that is coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah. Sanjay, can you see the slides?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So I will start some 25 minutes, and we will have some time for the question and comments, some discussion. So I will start with a project in Ladakh. Wait a minute. Yeah. So this, can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay. So I hope that this system works. So this for me, this is an example of sustainable value creation. This is our project or building project in Ladakh, in Tampu, a very small, extremely small village in a high Himalayas in a Zangsa Valley, close to Zangsa, and we developed this building. We built this building with European, Hungarian, and other European architects in collaboration with local people and all students from Budapest and other parts of Europe, university students, were there. They worked there with local people, and together we built the school. This is a 100% solar school. So this combines the latest Western technology with local. So this Tampo Solar School building combines the latest Western technology with local knowledge and local traditions. And this is 100% solar based, zero energy consumption, okay, zero. And we used local materials except glasses, which is not available in the local area. All the other materials are from the locality. And maybe the most important thing is, maybe you can imagine that this area is not just very poor, but very cold in wintertime. It means that during winter, literally, the children cannot go to the school because no heating at all. So, these architects solve this problem in a nice, really sustainable way. So for me, this little project, we have other projects in the Zangsa Valley area in Zangla itself, but this is the smallest. This is the smallest one. As you know, small is beautiful. This is a little building, is very close to my heart, and I suggest to consider this project as an introduction to sustainable value creation. Actually, the building received recognition in Europe and also in New York as an architectural, sustainable architecture object. So in a way, we are very proud of this little school in Ladakh. Now, this is the introduction. And just very shortly, just to recall that we are living in this new era, which is called Anthropocene. You are familiar with this, but the most important thing is that in the last 50, 60 years, in our lifetime, we changed, we altered the biochemistry of the earth itself, and also we contributed to destabilizing the climate. And at a very large scale, we are influencing the co-evolutionary processes of the planet itself. So actually, we are destroying the planet at a very high speed and a large scale. Later on, I will refer to Pope Francis, the leader of the Catholic Church, who is saying that our economy is this economy kills. Our economy is killing life, both human and non-human life forms, at a very large scale. So go back to this point, but this is just the context, and this you know this. But what is maybe not so trivial, that so what's the responsibility of business in this process, in this destructive process? I'm a business school professor, so I'm not against business, but I am very much against this present form of dominating mainstream corporate business, which is doing this. So this degrading state of the biosphere is mostly the cumulative effect of business functioning, mostly corporate mainstream business functioning in the last 50, 60 years, including material production and consumption, a special kind of material production and consumption. So these caused most of the negative effects on the biosphere. And we are in business, we are business school professors, so we should be very critical of this. At least this is my point. So for me, the consequence is that we should redefine we should reinvent business. Whole business is functioning. And we should reinvent and introduce new ways, new business models, new ways of doing business. Because what we are doing is very destructive, extremely destructive. So the question is, and I will show you some nice working models, business models, from different industries and different parts of the world. So how can business become an ecologically conscious agent? How can business use only, this is the technical term, we can discuss this, a fair earth share. So only those natural resources which is really fair for business to use.
This only offer is to grab, huh?
Yeah.
Nowadays, I have started to.
Yeah. May I continue?
Please, sir.
Yeah. So the question is that instead of killing life forms, human and non-human, like Pope Francis said, whole business can contribute to the richness of life, on Earth. That's not trivial at all. It's very difficult to do it. So just for relaxation in a minute, this is planet positive. Actually, this is what we suggest as a overall general idea or principle for business activities. Planet positive, be positive for the planet, for the human Earth system. So, and actually, this planet positive is a big project of American electric and electronic engineering society. I am working with them. I'm involved in this, and they are developing a new standard for engineering, including artificial intelligence and digital technologies. All these technologies and the development of this technology, future technologies, can be planet positive. So definitely positive for the planet. So non-negativity is not enough. These days we need regenerative efforts, and I will show you nice examples of this. So be positive for the planet, for the students and young entrepreneurs. I think this is a requirement if you want to survive the Anthropocene. So I will provide a more operational definition what I mean by sustainable value creation, I suggest to consider this. So, as a broad definition, products, processes, organizations, and actions, which, and this is important, first, satisfy real human needs, like Tampu, solar schools, real human needs. And doing this in a way that make positive impacts, planet positive, make positive impacts on nature, society, and future generations. For me, this is the essence of sustainable value creation. This captured the ethos of sustainable value creation in business. So this is a starting point, and some nice examples. First of all, this is from India, food. Also, I will have examples about food, Europe, from Europe, but this is organic India. The Lucknow area, Uttar Pradesh, we studied this company and this case, and we published on that. And but what is really exciting about organic is organic agriculture. They are doing all the nice things with stakeholders, with the local farmers, local communities, serving a wider the health of a wider community, society, also outside India, not just in India. They are producing organic food and herbs and this kind of things. But what I am using this example here, this is a company which was able to not destroy but to improve the quality of the soil. So they were able to regenerate the soil with this organic farming in that area. And maybe you understand this is extraordinary, this is crucial, because the soil, the quality, the fertility of the soil, that's critical. That's critical for the survival of our civilization. So mainstream industrial agriculture destroying the soil. Organic India regenerating the soil. So this is a planet positive. This is a positive impact on the earth. No, so this is India, but also this is Europe, Italy, mostly Italy, also France, Spain, Germany, Hungary, but slow food. I think you are familiar with this concept, slow food, because it's the opposite of fast food, the US style, McDonald's, and yeah. So slow food is understood as an integral, holistic approach to mostly organic, or even more stricter than organic way of farming. And so I visited many slow food farms and restaurants all over Italy. We studied this, tasted the food, visited restaurants, even in Sicily, and Milano, Venice, Rome, everywhere. And so the essence of this is not just being organic, regenerative, but also a very special emphasis on the local traditions, the food tradition of the place, the uniqueness and distinctiveness of growing food in that particular city or village or small locality. So they are regenerating the food, the land, the land, the ecosystem, and also regenerating or renewing the local cultural traditions related to agriculture and food production. And they produce unbelievable quality. Unbelievable quality. So if you taste slow food, after that we can discuss. Okay. So this is food. Very shortly, go further. This is cosmetics, natural cosmetics. There are several good examples all over the world. This is from Brazil. Natura, a special management regime, how not to destroy the rainforest in Amazonia, and how to produce really a different kind of cosmetic products for the ladies, but also for men. No, but this is my favorite example. I think you are familiar with Patagonia, this extremely innovative clothing company. We published a lot on this. This is based in California, and they are doing everything possible for ethics, social responsibility, ecology, all these kind of things. Yes, very nice. This pioneering #1 in the world in these areas, but just very recently, I don't know how it was popularized in India, but it was in the first page of Financial Times London and New York Times in the US that in September, this September, just some weeks ago, the founder and the owner, this is a family-owned firm, but it's a multinational, it's a global company, it's a big company, it's very profitable. So the owner and the CEO of the company, Yvon Chouinard, Zen Buddhist, decided to, in a way, to donate the whole company to the earth. How it is possible? He developed a fantastic, very sophisticated new governance form for the company, for his own company. Just the essence of this was the headline in Financial Times, New York Times, almost everywhere, that he was saying that from now, the only shareholder, okay, not stakeholder, shareholder, the only shareholder of our company is the earth, We have only one owner, I'm a shareholder, the earth. And this governance structure ensures that all the revenues and profits will go for ecological restoration from this September forever. Now think about this. That's revolutionary. That's revolutionary. Zen Buddhism. We can discuss this because that's my really my favorite case. But go further. This is Japan. And also an extraordinary, unique business model, working model. How to renew a local economy with art. Echigo Tsumari in Japan was some 20-25 years ago a very devastated remote area in Japan with dying population and no industry, nothing. Also, the land was degrading and so and so. And some very innovative guys developed this concept, introducing art, land art, open-air sculptures, these kind of things, introduced art or redeveloping the local economy with the local people, with young people from Tokyo and students and so and so. So they were so successful that in some years they developed the second largest open air exhibition, they call it Triennale, every third year, in the world. The first one is the Venice, Italy, famous Biennale Venezia. This is the second biggest in the world. The Ecological Triennale. A lot of people, sustainable tourism, all this kind of practices, a lot of people are going there, just walking, no cars allowed, and all this kind of interesting, nice things. So even using art can contribute to the renewal of a local economy in an innovative way. And finally, finance and banking. I was graduated in finance, so I have a special interest in these new ways of doing finance and banking. I will just very shortly show two examples. One is Europe and the other is New Zealand, Australia. This is Triodos Bank from the Netherlands, from Holland. And they are, so this bank is really the pioneer of sustainable, what is called sustainable ethical banking. Also a long story, to make it short, triple bottom line, more than triple bottom line. You are familiar with triple bottom line concepts. Actually, they are screening, very seriously, carefully screening every investment options simultaneously in three broad categories. One is economic financial criteria, okay, social and cultural development, and ecological environmental impact. And they are investing only in those projects which satisfy all these three criteria simultaneously. They are financing extraordinary innovative projects. And just to imagine that in the last 30 years in business, this is a private bank. It's a private, very successful private bank. And in the last 30 years, they financed 40,000, I repeat, 40,000 sustainability-oriented projects, okay? And this is much more than the Dutch government financed, okay? But this is a private bank. It's a private bank. I have a lot of story. I know the leaders of this bank. A lot of story, how they developed this, what is the spiritual source of this anthroposophy, and so what. And this will be the end of our journey. New Zealand. This is Tahito indigenous ethical investing company. And they are taking the Maori, you know the Maori, you heard about the Maori people, one of the oldest surviving culture of humanity, Maori, New Zealand. The Maori people, Maori culture, ethical and spiritual values and principles of Maori culture, and use this in addition to more conventional financial analysis and SDG considerations together to screen and propose investment opportunities. So for them, only those projects are okay which satisfied, among other things, the Maori values, indigenous, the values of indigenous cultures. That's extremely, I think, extremely interesting and good prospect to learn. So these are my selected examples we are writing a book and published really many papers on these cases and some more. But just to finish in some minutes, go back to India and the Indian heritage. With Professor Mukherjee, we often discuss this concept of, you are familiar with this, the children of immortality. Vivekananda introduced this and interpreted this, Amtashya Putra. And this is a very rich concept with different implications. But I would like just to pick up one possible implication of the children of immortality conception. And for me, this important implication is that if we are children of immortality, we should act as trustees of the earth. Also, you know, I just recall the trusteeship concept of Gandhi. That was a little bit different, but also an important source of inspiration, this trustee concept. We don't have time to discuss, but in Britain, in the British legal system, the trustee is a well-defined role. The trustee of an organization. But no, we should extend this concept, trusteeship, even beyond Gandhi, to include the earth, non-human systems, the earth. Actually, this is what Yvon Chouinard in Patagonia actually just achieved with his company, acting as children of immortality, trusteeship of the earth beyond Gandhi. So the last thing what I would like to share with you, and I stop, is new exciting program of Economy of Francesco by Pope Francis. And just last month, late September, we were in Assisi in Italy for a global gathering of Economy of Francesco people, more than 1,500 young people, because this project is for young people under 35. That's the Pope intention. Under 35, young economists, entrepreneurs, and social movement leaders under 35. And this is not a Christian movement. It's much more. It's much broader. It's really ecumenical. So in Assisi, there were Muslim young people, Muslims, and also people from India, and from Thailand, Philippines, also Latin America, Europe, US, so and so, indigenous people, Aboriginal people. So it's not just a Christian, but initiated by the Pope. So the idea is to create a new economy. It's not me, it's the Pope. The Pope was there with us in Assisi and was dialoguing with young people, young economists and others. So to build a new economy, a new kind of economy, which is not killing the earth. Of course, solidarity, all these kind of things, but innovative new business models, not killing the earth, actually serving the flourishing of humanity together with non-human beings, flourishing the earth. Now this is economy of Francesco. So you can visit the website of this initiative. For me, this is the most promising. This is a hope. This is the most promising thing what we have today to capture the heart of young people and to develop innovative new business and social models for human flourishing and ecological regeneration. So I will stop here. Thank you very much. And we still have, I think, some time for discussion.
Thank you, Professor Zsolnai, for a very illuminating presentation, very profound and deep concept of sustainable value creation and covering examples from all over the world, India, Italy, New Zealand, Australia. So I would now invite a couple of questions maybe from the audience who are sitting here. And if you have anything to ask, online, you would find it, please, not so easy to get. Very senior academic, whatever introduction we talked about, he hardly captures his depth and his profundity. Anyone would like to?
If there are no questions, I will set the ball rolling.
Yes, Professor Sahai.
Thank you, Professor Zsolnai. His name is
Zsolnai, Professor Zsolnai.
I came late, so part of your presentation I heard. And there you gave one Indian concept and you talked about New Zealand's aborigines. Now, could you get into detail of the work, sustainability work done for them? Because they are, whether Australia, New Zealand, Canada, USA, aborigines are day by day getting perished. Am I clear? Is my question clear?
I don't know. So Sanjoy, I was not hearing very well the question. So can you summarize the question? The question, yeah.
Did you give references to the aboriginal? Can you hear me now?
There is some echo. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
I think better, maybe.
So Professor Sahai, who a very senior faculty member, dean of a very reputed business school, Birla Institute of Management and Technology. So he asked this question that you talked about the aboriginals of New Zealand, giving reference to the Maori culture. Now, such aboriginal cultures in many parts of the world are perishing every day. They are becoming extinct almost under, if I may add, the dominant mainstream pressures. So he was asking whether you are doing some work on keeping them alive, keeping them going ahead, making them and offering them something called sustainable living, so that they can inherit a brighter future. If I may, right, sir?
Maintaining their culture.
And maintaining their culture.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope I got your your question in a right way. So there are several strategies. There are several strategies what we can follow. First of all, I am collaborating with top American business schools, including Columbia University and Berkeley and Yale. So the mainstream model is also not homogeneous. This is one thing. So even within the mainstream Western paradigm, there are alternatives. There are alternatives, and one way of doing innovative things is to work with alternative models, alternative initiatives, alternative new paradigms within the West, including the US. This is one thing. And the other thing is that we have other alternatives in different parts of the world as somehow opposition of the mainstream Western management and business paradigms. These are also extremely interesting and promising. We can somehow, I wouldn't say combine, but we should collaborate to develop new things. So if I understand your question rightly, I am not against the West at all. I'm a very Western guy, but I am studying Buddhism and Hinduism and related models to develop something new, which also partly build on some aspects of Western models. So this is a creative effort, real innovation. Try to achieve something, a real novelty, what we call not just a new thing, a real novelty, a radical novelty in business models. So my exam, I'm very close to visual arts. So I like visual arts, and I was studying paintings and history of visual arts. So it's a good example. An artist, a Japanese or Indian, or we have good contact in Bhutan, for example, a Bhutanese young artist develop something unique, a real novelty, combining or integrating Western and Eastern inspiring traditions. So my idea is something like this, to develop new models and learn from all important traditions as much as possible, and have the courage, like Organic India, for example. Organic India people are Americans living in India for 40, 50 years, inspired by Indian values. So they combine the best of the West and the East. So why should not we have this courage? And I know a lot of people in the West and also in the East who in business who try to do that. So not against the West, but to use the best of the West, the alternative aspects, alternative models of the West, and combine this or integrate this with the best of the East, and be creative like an artist, and do something. I stop, but the real novelty, like Apple, California, Steve Jobs, that was a combination. I lived in California, so I feel that atmosphere, the cultural atmosphere. There's really some integration of the East and the West in a very creative way. Steve Jobs was Zen Buddhist also, and he used Buddhism in a very creative way to develop Apple, including the aesthetics aspects products and production philosophy. So these kind of we need imagination. We need imagination combining East and West in a unique way. So that's my suggestion for everybody.
Thank you so much, Laszlo. And behind from the audience speaks thoughts, integrating the best of East and the West. Thank you very much for enriching our sustainability conference. And I will now request our anchor to conclude the program. Because you will be knowing also that the next session is by our common friend. He's waiting here in the online, Dr. Jacobsen. He's the next speaker. Right. Yeah.
So thank you so much, sir, for the very informative session. We really enjoyed the conversation and there was a lot of learning for sure. Now, I would request Professor Sanjeev Kakoti, chairperson of the conference, to come to the dais and felicitate our guest with the memento.
Thank you very much, sir. It's always a pleasure to listen to you and learn a lot of new things, even though we stay in the same country. I mean, the country that you referred to, Ladakh, I was not aware of that initiative of that school. So thank you. As a token of appreciation for you spending time with us and guiding us in our endeavors, we would like to give you a letter of appreciation, if that would be put online, please. So, Dr. Laszlo, thank you. We look forward to your continued support and guidance for our initiatives here at IIM Shillong. Thank you very much for your time and for the speech that you gave.
Our next speaker would be Professor Dr. O. Daniel Jacobsen, who is the professor in Ecological Economics at Business School, Nord University in Bodo, Norway. He holds master's degree in marketing, business administration, and philosophy. He obtained his doctor in economics from Norwegian School of Economics, NHH, in 1989. Sir has been a member of a number of national committees, among others, National Committee for Research Ethics in the Social Sciences and Humanities. He is one of the founders and leader of Center for Ecological Economics and Ethics at the Nord University. Sir has published a great number of articles and books nationally and internationally. He will be addressing us on Ecological Economics, a realistic utopia. Let us all welcome him with a big round of applause.
Hello. And thank you very much for the invitation to have presentations of some of my ideas in ecological economics. Let's see if I can share the screen. Can you see the picture now?
Yes, we can.
Very good, very good. So, first of all, thank you very much for being part of your very interesting and relevant conference. I think the world needs new thinking, both in economics and in other fields of social science. We have many challenges. Most of them are described in the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals, but there are also other challenges, as you know. So I will use my time to start this presentation with a very short and brief definition of ecological economics. Ecological economics is a transdisciplinary field of study whose fundamental premise is that the economic system is embedded within a social system, which is in turn embedded within an ecological system. And referring to the last speech from Laszlo Zsolnai, I think this is, in a way, an example of integration of Eastern and Western thinking. Transdisciplinarity means that we eliminate the borders between the disciplines. We say that economy has something to do with social sciences, it has something to do with natural sciences and humanities. And the whole thing, the whole society is part of the big ecological system. As you know, in the Western way of interpreting economy, it is abstracted out of both nature and culture. So ecological economics, in my interpretation, is integrated in the society and integrated in ecology. First of all, a Norwegian research institute found out, and it was published both in New York and in Oslo, a new comprehensive report states that none of the UN Sustainable Development Goals will be met with by the deadline of 2030 unless efforts are sharpened significantly. That means that it is not enough to be green, and it is not enough to talk about sustainability. We have to do something radically new. And a Norwegian philosopher of science, Gunnar Skirbekk, he is a philosopher of science at Bergen University, Norway. He points at a very interesting challenge. He says that the modern world is in crisis, a double crisis. On the factual level, in reality, different problems that interact and mutually reinforce each other. In other words, we cannot solve problems with the gap between rich and poor without have a focus upon environmental challenges and challenges connected to discrimination and so on, and vice versa. We cannot solve environmental challenges without having focus on the gap between rich and poor and eliminate poverty all over the world. But the main problem, according to Gunnar Skirbekk, is on the epistemic level. He says no single science or expertise can grasp the complexity. In other words, we have an opportunity to develop a new kind of holistic dynamic knowledge, where we eliminate, as I said, in a transdisciplinary context, we try to integrate knowledge from different fields of science to have a better understanding of the complexity of the challenges we are facing today. So, in other words, in my opinion, ecological economics is an attempt to try to develop such a knowledge. And this knowledge is not only a combination or a dialogue between different fields of science, it's more than that, it is also a connection between theory and practice. In other words, if we have to change practice, we have to connect to the practical level to see what people do in practice in local societies. So in other words, this could be a bottom-up initiative. People must be co-creators of their future, and when they are co-creators of the future, they will also be co-responsible. Otto Scharmer, a very famous contributor in business administration, from MIT in the US, he's German, but he's working in the US at MIT, says that the problem today is that leaders seek solutions with the methods and experiences of the past that represent the core of the challenges we are facing today. We are trying to solve the integrated, dynamic, holistic challenges of today with this diverse knowledge from the past. So in other words, he says we have to ask new kinds of questions. And I have a great inspiration from reading Norina Hertz's contributions about the lonely century. She says that one of the problems in our modern world is that people are more and more disintegrated. We have no relations between us. This is also a challenge in economics and economy in practice, but it is also a social challenge. And in Norway, I am working with different projects where we try to develop dialogue-based networks. But the main thing I read from Norina Hertz is the question on the top of this slide. To deal with new challenges, we must ask questions that challenge and contradict well-established knowledge. That is another way of saying the same thing as Otto Scharmer. We have to ask new kinds of questions and ask questions to the well-established knowledge. What we today think is the only reasonable solution, this must be questions. And some of the examples here are: it is necessary to redefine our role in society from being an observer to becoming a participant. We have, in a democratic society, we have to develop a more bottom-up initiatives. We have to stimulate people in the local societies, in the society in general, to be more participating in the development of both economy and also the cultural level in local society. So in other words, when we become a participant, we also become co-responsible. And we also have to develop from being a consumer to becoming a citizen. It is not enough to have to increase consumption to have a good life. We need to have a meaningful life, and a meaningful life is to develop more than the consumption part of it. We have to develop our potential as human beings, individually and also in collectively. And from being a recipient of support to becoming an active contributor in society. Everybody have a potential for being for contributing to the development of the local societies, and also all kinds of local societies have a potential for development. So the challenge for us is to find what is the potential, both individually and also in a social setting. Next, to describe the challenge we are facing, I refer to a philosophy of science professor, that is Imre Lakatos. He's from Hungary. He lived from 1922 to 1974, and he discussed something that is very relevant today. He differs between the hardcore of a scientific program and the protective belt. The hardcore is based upon theories, concepts, preconditions that are taken for granted and questions without threatening the whole research program. It could not be questions without threatening the whole research program. So the hardcore is something that we do not criticize. And as an example to that, it could be we do not ask questions to growth, we do not ask questions to competition and strategic thinking and the economic man as a way to understand rationality. This is the hardcore of the traditional mainstream economy today. The protective belt is theories and concepts that can be changed in order to protect the hardcore. And as an example of that, we can say that if we, instead of criticizing growth as a part of the hardcore of the dominating economy today, we can say, okay, we understand that growth is not possible, exponential growth is not possible on this earth because the ecosystems are not growing. Then we can say, okay, then we can have green growth, and then the problem is solved. According to Imre Lakatos, this could be a very great problem because instead of solving the problem, we are hiding the problem behind new concepts and descriptions. I will come deeper into this and give examples. I will start with the Norwegian philosopher, eco-philosopher Arne Næss. He differs between shallow and deep ecology. And from my point of view, shallow ecology is an example of the traditional way of thinking. We are not questioning the hardcore. Shallow ecology, people connected to shallow ecology, they propose to make small changes here and there within the institutions, within the existing paradigm, within the hardcore. They suggest technical development to reduce pollution. They don't get down to the basic because they think that business can continue as usual. The only challenge we have is to repair things make it small steps here and there, and also they believe in a technological optimism. Deep ecology is an example of asking critical questions to the hardcore. Deep ecology is an environmental philosophy which promotes the inherent worth of all living beings, regardless of their instrumental utility for human needs, plus the restructuring of modern human societies in accordance with such ideas. And once more, when we ask these critical questions to the hardcore of the dominating economy today, I think this is an example of a combination of this kind of Western mechanical thinking and an Eastern Buddhist philosophy connection to the living world, to the holistic, to the dynamic understanding of the world we're living in. So this is an example of shallow ecology within the existing paradigm, don't asking questions to the hardcore. Deep ecology is asking questions to the hardcore. And another example, also from a Norwegian researcher, Johan Galtung. He is very famous for being one of the first professors focusing upon peace economy. And he differs between negative and positive peace. Negative peace, in accordance with the existing way of thinking, without asking questions to the hardcore. Negative peace, reducing the negative symptoms such as direct and indirect violence, aggression, by using power. We are using power to reduce negative symptoms connected to exactly the same thing, power. So the power balance is a concept here that is focusing upon the situation we have today without asking questions to the hardcore. In positive peace, Johan Galtung asks these questions, and he says that presence of harmony, well-being, and social systems that serves values such as equity and fairness is necessary for having a peaceful world. To have positive peace, we have to do something with the unfair distribution of wealth. We have to do something with our connection to the ecosystems, and so on and so forth. A shift from negative to positive peace requires changes on systems and individual levels. In other words, asking critical questions to the hardcore. And this could be interpreted in an economic context too. So here I refer to the change of context, and it could be compared with a context change that we very often refer to Copernicus, who has said in the 14th, 15th century that the model of the universe that placed the sun rather than the earth at the center. In other words, he asked critical questions to the hardcore. Everybody believed that the earth was the center of the universe. Copernicus said, this is wrong. The earth is not at center, the sun is the center. A change of context, of interpretation. And if you use this way of thinking in economy, we can say we have to change the context from saying that economy is the context of rationality, the context of developing the society and so on, and reduce nature to an economic resource. The picture to the left, economy, the society. When we develop the society, we ask, is this profitable in an economic way? Is it giving return of investment, and so on and so forth? And ecology is reduced to an economic resource, atomistic. Each part of the ecology have a price tag on the market. If you change this, I must also say that these ideas is based upon a hardcore growth, competition, strategy, and egocentrism. This is the hardcore of the traditional dominating economy today. If we change and say that ecology is the context of interpretation, we can say that society must be integrated in the ecological conditions, in the ecological context, and economy is also part of this big picture. And then we must change from, when we change the context, the interpretation of these different dimensions under this figure also change from quantitative growth to qualitative development, and from competition to development of cooperative networks, and from thinking strategically how we can beat our enemies on the market to a partnership approach. And instead of saying that to be rational is to maximize your own utility, we can say that to be rational means to contribute to the common good. And the picture to the left, to the right, is from Friedensreich Hundertwasser, an Austrian eco-philosopher, architect, and painter, and he called this picture a living city. On the left, we can find a picture of a smart city, tag wheels in tag wheels, not any kind of life. So life has something to do with relations, and relations are eliminated in the neoliberal economy because the focus is upon objects. Only objects can have a price tag on the market. But the main thing is relations between everything in nature, and also relations between human beings in a living society. And here we can refer back to what we said about Norina Hertz, she said that the main problem in the society today, modern society today, is that the relations between human beings are reduced or eliminated in a way, and also the relations between human beings and nature are weakened. So in other words, this is a big change because we ask critical questions to the hard core of the economic system today. The main focus in ecological economics could be described on three different levels. First of all, we have to develop an economy that is sustainable. The scale of use of natural resources should be sustainable. That means that we cannot use more resources than the ecosystems could accept. And we cannot put more waste or stuff back into the ecosystems than the ecosystem can absorb. So in other words, we have to have a balance between what we take out of the ecosystems and what we put back. That is obvious. But today, the overshot day globally was, I think, in August, September. In August, September, globally, we have used all the renewable resources for that year in 2021. Fair distribution is the next point. We must reduce our use of natural resources, and the natural resources we have must be distributed in a fair way. And the market, the traditional market, is not a good solution because the market can only distribute values to people with money. So people with needs and have no possibility to pay for it, they will not be part of this distribution system, to say it in that way. So in other words, we must find other ways to have a fair distribution of wealth. Distribution of wealth allows a society to flourish and an important determinant of quality of life. And that is development goal number 1 in the UN's definition. And the third point here is efficient allocation. We have an optimal use of resources. They should be distributed in a fair way, and we should use the resources we have to make products and services that are made for human well-being, for quality of life. Today, most of many resources are used to luxury consumption and other more or less, destructive production. Gunnar Schirbeck mentions, for example, the whole military complex using about 6% of the resources on the earth that could be used in more positive ways to reduce poverty and all other challenges that we are facing. So in other words, sustainable scale, fair distribution, and efficient allocation of resources. And this I have illustrated in the following figure. When you start studying economy on a business school in the western part of the world, at least, you meet this picture. Economy has something to do with production, distribution, and consumption. After a short while, you discover that there must be some input to have an ongoing economy. We need energy and we need materials. It could be iron, and it could be carrots, and it could be anything. We need energy to have the production and distribution and consumption going. And we also discovered that there is some output. And the same thing is coming out of the system as we put into it. So if we put into it CO2, for example, or other stuff that could be problematic on the output side, then we understand what comes out of it is what we put into it. So the best solution here is, if we have some problems with the output side, we should take a look at the input side instead of saying that we have to solve the problems at the output side. You see the connection? This is organic thinking. Put something in, we have a digestive system, production, distribution, consumptions, give life to the society, give life to the individuals, and it should be in accordance with the natural conditions, ecosystems. So in other words, this is, in my opinion, the main thing of circular economy, the circulation between economy and nature. We have to take care of that to solve the challenges connected to environmental problems on a general level. The next thing here is we can develop a circular system within the economy. We can reuse resources. And this is an idea from many different sources, I think, but Waldemar Hopfenbeck, a professor in marketing from the business school in Munich, talks about Kreislauf economy in German in the 1970s. And today, this is accepted as a very good idea. It took 50 years from the introduction of this way of thinking to accepting that this is a very good thing in economy. But remember that the argument from Hopfenbeck was that by introducing this blue circulation, the main thing is that we should reduce the pressure on nature. So in other words, by introducing the blue circulation, the green circulation between economy and nature was the end of it. So the blue circulation is the mean to a green end. Today we have forgotten that, and we say that the redistribution, the circular economy is only the blue circulation. But we have also more. To have an economy in harmony with both nature and human beings and culture, we need knowledge and we need values. And for example, knowledge on both technological knowledge and marketing knowledge and organizational knowledge and all kinds of knowledge. But we also need values. And you see, in the blue part of it, in the economy, utilitarianism or that kind of ethics is dominating. We have to produce as much utility as possible. And the idea was, when the cake is bigger, everybody comes better off. The result today is, as we can see, the rich people have more and more, and the poor part of the population on Earth, 50%, have less and less. In other words, we have to introduce fairness as an input here, new values in the economy. And reflection on the practice means that we learn from practicing economy within the blue circulation and the green, and we come up with new knowledge, and we also come up with more reflected values. So therefore we can say we have the third circulation between economy and culture. And then in the future, people working in economy should have knowledge about nature, how economy is integrating and integrated in ecosystems, and also how cultural values, knowledge is part of the economic processes. And this is two kinds of knowledge that are not part of the curriculum at the business school today. Most economists learn nothing about ecosystems and ecology, and they have very few input on social sciences and humanities. So here is a challenge for us working in the universities, try to develop the connection between nature, economy, and culture, and that could be an example of transdisciplinarity. In this picture, we can also see that sustainable scale, also the main thing in ecological economics, is the connection between economy and nature. And we find in the Sustainable Development Goals They talk about climate, pollution, ozone layer, biodiversity, fresh water, nitrogen, phosphorus cycle. All these things have something to do with the connection between economy and nature. And we can also see down here that fair distribution is part of it, part of the connection between economy and culture. And we also find the Sustainable Development Goals as part of it. Food, education, health, housing, work, income, participation, social equity, gender equality. So you see, it's easy to put the main, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals into this picture, together with the 3 dimensions of ecological economics. Inside the economy, we have to find solutions where we use the resources that we have in a proper way to reduce poverty and to make a more fair world. And then I will say a few words about the city where my university is situated, Bodo, Norway. Bodo will be an European capital of culture in 2024. And in this application, they say, Bodo 2024 will be an arena where ecological economy can function in real life. Ecological economy will be a method within the Bodo 2024 organization, inspiring to explore sustainability and ecology. And more interesting, even more interesting, the answer from the EU panel, giving Bodo this opportunity. In the bid book, the application highlights that Bodo 2024 intends to build on the research done by Nord University and become an arena to test ways of promoting ecological economy, which is extremely topical, they say in EU. In the panel's view, this is forward-looking and a strong element of the bid. In other words, we have to do something here. We have to come up with some examples, practices to demonstrate that it is possible to ask critical questions to the hardcore and come up with solutions that are in accordance with this way of thinking. And to do this, we work together with Corvinus University in Budapest. Laszlo Zsolnai is mentioned in the application, and I look forward to develop projects together with him in the next year and up till 2024. Okay, and this next picture is an illustration of the development that we have noticed in our university the last 4 or 5 years. We have a deeper contact with the indigenous people in Norway, the Sami culture. So today we say that there is a connection between the food we eat, the nature we harvest from, and the life forces in nature. Everything in nature has soul, and everything is connected, and every life is just as valuable as another. Productive and healthy ecosystems on land, including waterways and in the sea, are central prerequisites for Sami culture and identity. And I think we find the same ideas in all indigenous peoples all around the world. The utilization of nature's resources is based on values and principles that contribute to ecological balancing between what nature can provide and what you can use in relation to nature's carrying capacity. In other words, in addition to modern science, we also have something to learn from these old cultures that we find in Asia, in Africa, in Europe, and in North and South America. So this is very interesting and a new contribution to our development of this kind of organic economy, to say it in that way. And now we are coming closer to the end of this presentation, and I will refer to a definition of sustainable development from a professor in social sciences at the University of Oslo, Norway. The first part of the definition is the traditional. We should use less bad. Sustainable development is mainly about taking care of the individual person, society, and the environment in a way that is not harmful or degrading. We should not do bad things, fossil fuels, red meat we talk about in Norway, and many other things. But I think the good idea here is that is in connection with ecological economics is, but which on the contrary is more stimulating, life-giving and developing. So here is the challenge when we talk about practicing ecological economics in Bodo European Cultural Capital. We should come up with examples of stimulating, life-giving and developing projects. That is the main challenge today. And we think that it is also obvious necessary to reduce these bad things. But what is more inspiring and people engaging and want to work with, that is stimulating, life-giving and developing projects. So concluding remarks here, to succeed in realizing the good life in the good society depends on our ability to understand the basic principles of ecology and to develop and practice an economic system accordingly. We must realize that we never will find solutions to our current challenges using the old maps. Otto Scharmer says we cannot use the old knowledge to solve the new integrated and dynamic challenges we are facing. To do more than reducing negative symptoms, we need deeper systemic change. We need to ask critical questions to the hardcore and do a Copernican turn, saying that instead of saying that economy is the context of interpretation in the modern society, we should say that ecology is the context of interpretation. And in ecology, human beings are part of it. We are not outside the ecosystems, we are inside, we are part of the ecosystems. Referring to Arnes, Johan Galtung, and many others, also Buddhist philosophy, sure. The only valid purpose of the economy is to serve the life processes in all kinds of social and ecological systems. And then we end up with this picture and this question. This here I refer to a very famous English-American economist, Kenneth Boulding. He said in the 1980s that we should not focus too much on prognosis telling us how the future will be, because we are living in an organic world, we are part of it, we are developing our own future. We should ask another question, how we want the future to be. And I want to stop there, how we want the future to be in harmony with all people and all animals and all living entities in all the ecosystems on Earth. That is, in my opinion, the most important challenge today. We have to find solutions to that. Otherwise, we will come into deeper and deeper problems. We are living on this ship. We are sailing into a future, a foggy future. We do not know how it will look like, but we are able to find a course into the future. So therefore, dialogue, bottom-up initiatives, ecological understanding, humanities, values are important. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Daniel Jacobsen. For quite some years, I've been trying to get you for SusCon, if you remember. And, there was some engagement that you were, busy with, so we couldn't get you. Finally, got you here. You're very, very lucky and fortunate. We will definitely consider all your, deep insights into economics from ecological point of view, cultural point of view, using nature, philosophy, values, and a very integral approach which hardly is dealt in our management institutes or business schools these days. But we take, we are also to carry forward your questions, how the future, or what kind of future we want to be in. So thank you very much from SusCon.
I really hope I can be with you next time. It's good. It will be a very interesting and fantastic experience to sit together with you in that room instead of being on this screen. So hopefully we will meet in the future.
Fully agree. And we want to get you here. You would love the Northeast. You would love Shillong. I can guarantee you that. Now, the anchor of this your session will have the last words and then a brief presentation of mementos from our side.
Thank you, sir. Your words were very insightful and they contain a lot of learning for all of us. Now I would request Professor Sanjay Mukherjee, sir, to felicitate our keynote speaker, Professor O.B. Daniel Jacobsen, sir. Sir, please.
So, Dr. Prof. Daniel Jacobsen, on behalf of IIM Shillong, on behalf of SusCon 9, we are honored to have you with us today. And as a token of our acknowledgement, our appreciation, our respect to you for the deep thinkings that you left with us, insights that you left with us, we present you with a memento which will be displayed on the screen right now. Can we have a big hand? And you perform this film. Thank you.
Now we will be having the technical session 1.2, which will be concerned with the corporate governance and the sustainable finance. For this session, I would like to invite our session chair, Professor Vishakha Bansal ma'am, Assistant Professor from Finance and Control at IIM Shillong, and the session coordinator, PhD final year research scholar Surit Vishwas, to take up the second session.
A warm evening to all. So I'm Surit Vishwas on behalf of IIM Shillong, SusCon 9. Welcome you all to the technical session 1.2. So before we begin with the presentation, I would like to introduce with our session chair, Professor Vishakha Bansal. So Professor Vishakha Bansal is an assistant professor in the area of finance and control at IIM Shillong. She is a PhD holder in corporate finance from Faculty of Management Studies, Delhi University. She has around more than 8 years of experience in teaching and various roles in the administrative or the academics. She has presented a lot of papers and also published very quality journals at various national and international journals. So I welcome you, ma'am, and I would like to request you to address the presentation.
Okay, so we also have with us Professor Zsolnai, the co-chair and also our guest. So, good evening to all. Okay, just would like to tell all the presenters about the details of the presentation. So each presenter will get 9 minutes to present and 5 minutes of discussion, including the question and answers. So we have to stick to the timeline so that each presentation can happen. Oh, so I'm sorry, I should have addressed to all of you. Good evening to all of you. So each presenter will be presenting for 9 minutes, okay, and we will stick to the timeline and 4 to 5 minutes of discussion and question and answers, right? Okay, let's start.
So the first presentation by Dr. Kavita Shastri and Dr. Rajendra Mishra, paper ID 1263, Co-creating Sustainability and Triple Bottom Line at ITC Case Study of Human Organization. Please start your presentation.
Very good evening to one and all. After listening to so many eminent speakers and left with few words anyways, co-creating sustainability and triple bottom line. Now, Ranjit Gulati in his book Deep Purpose, he talks about having a new way of thinking, discovering and embedding that into the organization. So there is no other organization which comes to my mind which talks about deep purpose than ITC. So ITC is a conglomerate. It's a cigarette to hotel company. It's a big conglomerate which has done an outstanding work in the area of sustainable development. And after 2 years of pandemic, it has been seen that there are various areas in which whether it's FMCG sector or education and stationery products or other sectors of ITC, the business has gone up drastically. And the focus of ITC is on incorporating innovative strategies which enable it to make a growing contribution towards the growing contribution along the triple bottom line of building economic, environmental, and social capital. So all the ITC brands, they have retained value for the Indian economy, whereby they have increased the competitiveness of the entire value chain of farmers and rural communities. In hotel sector, there has been a never before occupancy in all the ITC sector hotels, especially when we talk of ITC Sonar and ITC Royal Bengal in Calcutta. And ITC Windsor Hotel in Bangalore is the only LEED and platinum certified hotel. And they have done a lot of green initiatives. So where ITC has also received AA rating. It has also been there in the Dow Jones environmental compatibility